All right, so let's talk about Marvel Rivals. I'm going to give you my review, my personal take on the game really quick. Thanks for clicking on the video. I'm going to give you the verdict right now. It's a pretty good game. It's free to play. It is pretty much a hero shooter along the same really along the same lane as Overwatch. So really close. You're doing a lot of the same objectives. You're picking characters. There's no really progression. It's just match after match after match using abilities and working on a 6v6. So if you like these types of games, you're a little tired of Overwatch, this game is a pretty good alternative. Okay, so that's the overall review. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more in-depth of what's good and what's bad, please stick around. I'm going to go ahead and just talk about all that. But yeah, I just want to, I don't want you guys to sit through 10 minutes plus so you guys know my opinion. It's a good game, but I do have some worries about it. So I have like double camera up there. So basically, this game came out and it's super popular, right? It's from NetEase. I think they did some other mobile games, but basically this is a 6v6 hero shooter with a couple of modes at the very beginning. It's season 0 right now, so they're still doing a lot of like bug fixing, especially with like, like some sort of map interactions, maybe some unintentional skills working not, particularly well, hitboxes, etc. So bugs aside, it's a pretty decent, first launch of the game. But let's talk about the good and the bad stuff, starting about just, a little bit more about the game. I think it launched with like 28 to 35-ish or so heroes at launch, and it's all free. They said it's all free, which is very awesome. I really like the choice that they're doing here. They're banking that they don't have to sell you a bunch of season pass stuff. Technically, there is stuff in there. You can purchase with real money cosmetics, but they should not for now in the future. It should not have any impact on gameplay whatsoever, except visual. Like maybe, oh, this character is a little darker, blah blah blah. There might be like very small complaints people might have, but you can see here from all the footage, it's not that hard to see what's going on. You can see gigantic, HP bars above your friends, big red outlines on your enemies. You can also increase the size, make them more prominent, so it's not that big of a deal. But so some of the modes you have here are escorts. Pretty much you follow a slow-moving structure across or vehicle across the base. You have domination, where you try to capture the hill and take it over a certain amount of time over your enemies, and you have a defend point, you have a capture point, where if they take over one point, it moves over to the next attack point, etc. And those are the basic sort of things that they have now. I'm not sure if they plan to have anything else later. I would love it if they sort of somehow improve the hero shooter style and have even more stuff than what we've seen, what we're used to, because let's be honest, it is very similar to a lot of hero shooters like Overwatch that does the same sort of overarching gameplay. But what makes it fun is it just like Marvel heroes, but the fact that it's third person and every single hero has their own personality. They have their sort of abilities like you would expect them to use. Punisher is straight guns. Even Spider-Man swings around. He's a little freaking crazy acrobatic that's really hard to hit. He comes in, smacks you, leaves, comes in, and then you have gigantic tanks like Magneto, who is a gigantic shielder. You just have a lot of so you have different archetypes. You have the tank archetypes, you have the duelist, which is the DPS, and then you have the healers. Now in a lot of hero shooters, it feels really bad playing one certain sort of role, because you have to kind of fill it out. If you're playing quick match, I wouldn't expect too many people to worry a lot about, oh my god, there's like 5 DPS, 1 tank, and no healers. We need two, that sort of thing. In ranked mode, it's definitely much more apparent that you do need to balance your team out. But if you're playing just simply unranked with friends, just hanging around, it doesn't really matter. You can go ahead and get away with not having the most optimal team. But throughout the different seasons, there is going to be not just new heroes coming in with their own abilities and their own archetypes, but you have different team ups. So basically, if you are able to play it one hero with another hero, for example, Groot with Rocket, they have a team up ability where Rocket can jump onto Groot's back for reduced damage and deal damage. The Hulk can pick up Wolverine and toss him. You have Thor. and you have who is it, Thor and someone else that he gives like lightning to their abilities, and then like chain lightnings. There's like a lot of stuff like that. It's really cool. But yeah, the game is smooth, it looks great. A lot of people might not be too into the anime aesthetic, and yeah, the game is like, it's pretty waifu'd up. You know, a lot of the females are like looking pretty good. They even have a Galactica waifu, which is a lot, you know, that's like their big selling art. But overall, like a lot of the other characters though, it looks good. You know, even if you're not into the style, you have to admit Overwatch was super waifu'd up too. This is completely fine. The only problem I have right now is it's at the beginning of the game, it's a little, until you get used to it and play enough and watch a lot, it looks very chaotic. But as you learn more, you're gonna understand that you know exactly what your eyes should be going towards, where you should be rotating, because right, it's pretty disorienting if you just go in and you just straight out, it's a rumble, it's a brawl, you don't know what's happening, you randomly heal, you randomly die, you fall off a map. But the more you play, this is just one of those games where you just gotta get used to it, and then everything becomes second nature. You can see every little hero, you know what they're capable of, so you know what to dodge, who to stay near, who you might be able to team up with, vantage points for your characters. So even though hero shooters doesn't have a lot of progression in game, like would say a MOBA game, for example Dota, where you start from level 1, 2 all the way to 25, you get gold, you get weapons, and you get new stuff as you level on. This doesn't have that, but there is still a sense of skill in terms of the map, your character, pushing your luck, knowing how strong you are, working with your teammates, knowing their capabilities, if they can heal you, if they can shield you, what their ultimates are, and same thing with the opponents. If you know that they have a Doctor Strange on your team, you gotta watch out for that portal. If they have a Scarlet Witch and she screams chaos, you know she's gonna gigantic blow up like Diva in Overwatch, and everyone needs to run. So it's really skillful, because there is a ton of heroes, and to be honest, they're not crazy, they're not complicated, right? Really, it's not. They just have like maybe everyone has like a passive or two, but then you have like your basic mobility for the most heroes, and then you have 2 to 3 abilities, and then your ultimate. It's like not that bad. It's just a matter of how you fit and sort, you know, how you make it work with your team and how you work with it itself. But otherwise, the game runs really smooth. I had 0 issues with crashes, no hiccups with any sort of the graphics. It feels good getting attacks off. Yeah, I don't really have an issue with it. The only thing that I think could be a potential problem in the future is that this is still a hero shooter at its core, and it's going to have a lot of the problems that people are seeing with Overwatch nowadays, and why people aren't really playing it as much anymore. And that has to do with long-term staying power, as well as just the sort of community, because this is a free-to-play game, meaning anyone can jump in. It's really accessible, ranked match, quick match. You even have some sort of arcade stuff, you know, like team deathmatch and whatever extra stuff they add. But you're gonna see a lot of the same problems in terms of like balancing, toxicity, people not playing nice, also people I guess hero stealing, if that makes sense, you know, completely just shit talking, text, voice chat, etc. You know, just not, it's just because it's a team game. Yeah, you can play really well and take out like 2 to 3 people on your own, but then, you know, you need healers, you need a team. So if you're playing by yourself and unranked or ranked, you know, maybe you have one other person with you, you're still going to be at the majority mercy of everyone else, and hopefully that everyone is on the same page. So you're going to go in, play a lot of games, and if you play unranked, it's whatever. But if you do decide to be competitive in this, and they do want to make this an esport, and I'll talk about why in a second, but you do have to, you know, it's going to be really kind of all over the place. You know, you have to make sure you have the perfect combination of teams, and not everyone's going to play nice, and that's a really big issue. But otherwise, the further you get, when you know, in rank, they're going to implement bans and maybe even drafts, but I don't think the game should force people into roles unless you queue for those roles. But at the same time, that limits creativity. Like, what if you do want to run a team with 5 DPS and 1 healer, you don't need a shield, you know, but the game forces you to have two of every sort of archetype, then that would really once again limit creativity and stuff like that. So I really hope that isn't the case, but I don't know how they're gonna balance things out later, because the game is super arcadey, super fun, and even though characters move kind of slow, it's fast paced in terms of like action moment to moment. Everything is flying all over the place, especially when you get closer up, you're moving all around. I'm on keyboard and mouse. I have watched a couple of people play on controller. It was like, okay, I think it was on PlayStation and stuff. But yeah, this is a really, really crazy game. And once again, they're going to be competitive because there is a tournament tab at the very launch. So you can make a sort of guild in game and then sign up with in-engine tournaments, which is really cool. And then you end up getting like in-game currencies and points, and maybe I don't know much more about it, but that would be really cool if you get like league points, and then if you get enough league points over a season, maybe you can be invited, you and your guild, to a IRL local tournament to do some stuff. That would be the best case scenario for this turning into an esport. But this game also will go ahead and have the also be at the mercy of it being another live service game. Even though it is free, it is once again a live service game that does demand time in order to get the most currencies and stuff, because how else are they going to make money? They have to bank on people buying cosmetics, and the only way to do that is you have to make it seem like it's worth it. And the only way to make cosmetics worth it is to make them look good, which they do. They all look good. You have a couple of whatever ones like color swaps, but you have like really good movie tie-in ones, like, oh, this is a Peter Quill. They have original costumes for almost all the characters. And then you have like tie-ins, like, oh, this is the Guardians of Galaxy 3 specific version one of Mantis, of Peter, of Rocket, etc. Right? You have all that stuff, and they look good. They look different. They're not just color swaps. I think it would have been more crazier if they had different bits that you can change on your character. Like, oh, if you're Captain America, you can keep the original costume but change out only the shield. If you're Thor, maybe you can have a different sort of helmet on instead of the whole thing. I think it would be really great to add different pieces of it. But no, they're going the full costume route, which is, it's fine because it works together, and as long as they have a lot of them, it's fine. But they also got stuff like sprays and icons and stuff. But if the game is good and people spend time on it, inevitably they're going to be like, I want to support the game. This looks cool. I want another type of character look, because unlike Overwatch, and I had a complaint about Overwatch since day one, they have these pretty decent skins, but like costumes and stuff. But this is a first-person game. You're 99% of the time first person, only looking at your gun, and maybe every once in a while, because your character has a skill or ultimate, it zooms out and you 3D look at your character. But in Marvel Rivals, it's the opposite. 95% of the time it's third person, and maybe you zoom in because Black Widow has an ADS sniper, but overall you are seeing your characters. It's so colorful, all these characters that you've loved from the TV shows, the movies, the comics. They're all here. They're all working together. They're all talking. It's awesome. And once again, I'm a sucker for Marvel, dude. I can't wait till I add in more stuff, like maybe a Deadpool or Cyclops. I really want to see those characters in this game. But my favorite right now is definitely playing Iron Man for damage, because I love flying through the air and being a master of just like bombarding from the sky while all the enemies are looking down below, dealing with that stuff. And also playing a Luna Snow. That's my favorite healer. She's like a super K-pop inspired. Just has a really awesome freeze ability to get ADS off you, and also healing your opponent, healing your teammates from far away. Her ultimate's sick too. She like goes into a giant performance and has a big AoE, pretty much like Lucio healing everybody. But yes, the only thing is staying power, right? It's Marvel, so they have a lot of content to pull from. And it's content people actually care about if they play their cards right. They can throw in the occasional, who is this character? No one knows Cloak and Dagger, at least not really in the mainstream. But then you throw in something like a Wolverine that's already in the game, and like, oh, that's really cool. So as long as they keep trickling, like obscure characters to neat characters to legacy to upcoming ones, I think they're gonna have a lot of buzz coming back and forth. But with all the new characters coming in and all the new characters out already, they need to balance it out, because it's a little all over the place, but that's the fun of it. But it's not going to be so fun in ranked mode where it really matters. So if they can fix all the bugs and all that, I think it has the staying power with it being free to play. They have that battle pass that's purely cosmetic, which you can pay for and pay for the extra stuff. If I end up playing this for like a month or two plus, you bet I'm gonna get a couple of costumes here and there, because, you know, once again, it's just that mindset. I played so much, I'm gonna keep playing. Why not get a cool skin to support and also look cool and different in the game? But this does fall into the pitfalls of a hero shooter. You got the toxicity of just hero picking, you got the toxicity of people not playing together well, you being a little reliant too much on your team if you're queuing with just 1, 2, or 3 players. The best thing is ranked mode, queuing with 4 to 6 players. That is your best bet. You do want to voice chat, you want to text chat, but once again, you're going to be talking to people around the world. You don't know their mindset. Maybe they're pure toxic. Maybe they're the most helpful people, but then they're bad. Maybe you're bad, etc. This, like, the gambit is all over the place in terms of player interaction, but my God, the game is just fun. It's fun to just pick other characters, Spider-Man, Iron Fist, Moon Knight. It's fun, dude. And as a big, like, confidence boost going in a couple of months from now, the game launched and they stated that they had around 10 million or so people actively playing. When the game first launched, the first day, I was seeing around 500k plus just on Steam alone. And then console, for these type of games, the market's probably a little bit bigger. So I'm not sure if they meant 10 million at launch, 10 million playing all at the same time, or have logged in, that sort of thing. But I would say that this game is pretty well polished. It just needs to be a little bit more, I say polished in the overall package term, you know, in terms of where it's going. You know, they just need a little bit of tweaks here and there, and it all depends on the content that they throw out in the future, because it will get old fast with just these very, very few modes. So I hope they have something, you know, something that will just blow people away and make it stand out, because you cannot get over the fact that, yes, this is still an Overwatch-ish clone. Like, that's the biggest argument against it. But once you get into the nitty-gritty of things and everything just works well, you can know you know your hero in and out. It just looks good, third person, it's great. It's good, dude. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. And yeah, I really want to know your guys' thoughts. If you got to the end of the video, please let me know down below. What do you guys think about Marvel Rivals? Will you try it? Have you tried it? Maybe you're not into hero shooters at all, but I'm telling you, I mean, you got nothing to lose. Free to play for this one. So that's it. Thanks for watching. If you guys want to see more matches other than what I've been showing you here, link down below to the MabiVsGames 2 channel, where I upload all of the gameplay. So thanks for watching. And also, I stream on Twitch, so please follow me there. And I'll see you next time. Bye.